Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Good morning. Got my coffee. It's early March in 2021. The the cold spell that we had that was driving temperatures during the night down to 10 below, and during the days it was 5 below down with the wind chill factor even worse than that. So we got a nice day. It's in the 40s. That's this New England weather. It just changes on a dime. And I was going to haul some wood in for the wood stove today, but if it's going to get warm, then the ground all around the wood pile is going to turn into slush and mud, and I'm not going to do that. I may do another video though later this afternoon because I have to take the bow dog out for a walk in the woods, so we tag up with you maybe later today as well. But I've had some concerns that I needed to share with you about getting started in currency trading and using a simulated account. I don't teach beginners, and I tend not to work with beginners because you just don't have enough experience in order to understand what I'm doing. Look, I've been involved in the karate and the martial arts for 50 years, and I try to get people through the beginning stages on their own volition to see that they've got the discipline to pay attention to actually learn the stuff that's critical. I teach them what they need to know in 4 really intense classes to give them the core principles of what karate is going to be all about. And then if that satisfies them, they're off, and that's fine because they're far better off than they were before. That's our kind of simulated environment. But someone then who stays and wants to really get in and study martial arts, or at least higher levels of self-defense, then they have a base that they can relate to. And so this channel, this trading channel, is all about assuming that you have some kind of a training, that you have some kind of a base, so that when I say beware of using all these technical indicators for trade entry, you're going to have a sense for why that might be a good idea, because you've done them and you've traded with them before, and you kind of get a sense for it. And then you're looking for me to kind of explain why they don't work, where it would be applicable to have them work, and all that sort of stuff. But one of the themes that I carry through my videos about beginning and learning currency trading is to not consider that you're learning to trade in a simulated account. You're just not. The simulated account, as I've said a bazillion times, is to learn the plumbing and the mechanics of Forex trading, so that when you get into a live account and you're experiencing all the things of live price action rather than the kind of forced price action that's going on in the simulated server environment that you're in, that you'll at least be prepared for that. I mean, that's like going to driver's ed and going into the classroom. They put you in the car to start, they put you in the classroom, teach you the rules of the road and all that stuff, but that's not driving. That's learning the mechanics and the plumbing of what it is to drive a car. And they throw a screen up and they show you driving along, and they show somebody making an illegal turn out in front of you, and how important it is to watch out for little kids throwing balls out into the road and stuff. That's not driving a car. That's simulated environment. Now, it prepares you so that when you do get in your car, you're looking for the little kid chasing after the ball. You're looking for the asshole that's making the crazy turn in front of you. You're looking for the ice patches in the road. You're looking for all this kind of stuff. You're looking at the gas gauge to make sure you got enough gas to get to where you need to go. So you're aware of the mechanics of driving the car, but the classroom, you're not driving the car. And when you are in the classroom and you see a picture of a little kid running out in front of your simulated car, you go, oh my God, I don't want to hit that little kid. I don't want to be responsible for that. And they say, well, not only will you feel horrible about hurting that kid or possibly killing him, but there's legal ramifications and all sorts of stuff. So if those are prices that you don't want to pay, maybe driving isn't the thing that you want to do. Well, you're not there in the driving classroom to determine that you don't want to drive a car. You're there because you're going to drive a car, and the law says that if you're going to do that, you go through these classes. So that you have to, I mean, everything that you do in life is the same thing. It's all based on the same rules, and there's emotional things involved in that. You can look at when I teach karate, for example, I can show somebody why you don't want to fight somebody with a weapon, because they can close the distance on you so fast. There's police training videos that are out there that show you're an armed police officer, your gun is holstered, and you have a violent individual in front of you, and he's threatening to pull a knife and to run at you. And the guy is 15 feet away. Now, take a look away from your computer screen right now and look at something that's 15 feet away. That's quite a distance off. You think, well, I could pull my gun and shoot that guy, or I'd be ready for him if he starts to pull his knife and runs at me. I could do it. Yeah. Well, try that. And I have karate students that have been police officers and have faced down people coming at them with knives and stuff, and they say, don't even think that if that guy's 15 feet away from you that you're gonna stop that guy from coming in with your gun, pulling your gun and shooting him, or taking terrible time to do that. As soon as that guy pulls that knife out, you run at it, fucking kill him. But looking at a video of that isn't the same thing as being on the street and facing some guy with a weapon. I was in a bar one night, and whole shit goes up for grabs, and there's some jackass that pulls out a club and he's going to hit me with it. And the training is don't step back, don't step back away from the guy with the club. So we had to put him down. But if I'd have waited, I'd get clobbered in the head. But I needed to be aware of not only the mechanics of what I'm supposed to be doing, but potentially what else is going on in the market around you. But all of that preliminary training in the club is not the real thing. You're trying to prepare for the real thing. So the cautionary tale is that when you get into trading, you're encouraged to learn how to trade in the simulated market. And that is stupid. Anybody tells you that, it's just craziness. The simulated environment is there to show you the mechanics and the plumbing of trading. What are the mechanics? How do you use your trading platform? How do you put a buy order in? How do you put a sell order in? How do you stage in lots? How do you pull lots off in staging? How do you set your stops? How do you evaluate distances? What's the use of ATR? How do you evaluate price action on pound dollar versus, a Swiss franc Japanese yen currency pair? What time frame charts are you comfortable on based on the volatility of price? What is price volatility? How do you look at a candle? What does this wick on a candle tell you? How do you reload your account with more money when you lose it? How do you set up your account? Over the long term, last 200 days, what's price action look like? How do you go back and learn how to read your candle structure or your line chart structure and build up some type of systematic approach as to how you're going to actually place trades when you get there. But the problem is you start playing fucking games and trying to make money in the simulated account. And you can't. It's a simulated account. It's not the real thing. So you cannot learn how to make money because there's no emotion involved in it. How are you going to learn in a classroom what it's like emotionally to be faced with the prospect of some kid who's standing between two parked cars bouncing a basketball? How are you supposed to gain an emotional reaction to that? You're watching this video of this in this simulated environment, and there's this kid bouncing a ball, and you go, oh, there's some kid there bouncing a ball. You may not even see him because it doesn't count. But as soon as you get in the car, if your instructor at that driving class hasn't said, hey, look at that kid bouncing that ball, you need to slow your car down, you need to make sure you're in control and you can stop in case that kid jumps out in front of you. So when you're out on the street and you see that kid bouncing that ball, you slow down. What if he doesn't jump out? Well, you had the emotional reaction that you recognize that kid could jump out. What are the probabilities? And how fast am I going to be able to stop my car? Or is it just a ball that's going to come out into? I mean, you don't want to be solving all those problems in real time. You need to be made aware of those problems in the classroom, and you need to be made aware of potentially what can happen in a simulated environment, but you can't trade. I mean, you're obviously putting trades in the simulated environment so that you can watch the reaction of price action, the bid-ask spread, how that affects you, what that VIG is going to do to the outcome of where you decide you can get out of that trade. So you're going through all that stuff, and all of a sudden you'll get a spike, you know, a fucking price. Let's say you're down on a 5-minute chart, and all of a sudden in 30 seconds price goes up 40 pips when the ATR is 5 pips, and you go, oh, holy shit, that can happen. Well, no kidding, it could happen. So is that going to convince you to put a panic stop up there while you're doing all your crap down here, just in the event that you get a pop like that? If you're not being instructed correctly, that thought would not occur to you. All you'd see is this spike go up, your P&L goes way down, and because you were short, I'm talking about a spike up. And you go, oh, shit, look at that. But you don't have any skin in the game. Well, maybe it'll come back. It should. And it comes back, and you're okay. Because you're trading. You're trading. You shouldn't be doing that. It's mechanics. Oh, I see that spike come up. But it isn't like, how does that affect my P&L? How does that affect what I'm trying to do in trading? When you're in that simulated account, you shouldn't even be looking at your P&L, because that doesn't matter. It's learning what price action is doing so that, well, okay, here's this spike that went through. Not what did it do to me today, but what would that mean if I was out there live? Just like I'm looking at that in that driving room, classroom video of that little kid standing on the side of the road. That price goes, I'm short, and that price goes way up against you to 40 pips. What would happen if I got caught with that? Oh shit, you know, on a trading a full lot, 40 pips. That's $400. Man, that's a you know, $500 a day is $100,000 a year. So $400 is a lot. That's a big hit. So you're asking yourself, do I want to take a $400 hit? And of course you don't. Well, what tools do I have in order to prevent that from happening? Oh, I should place a stop at maybe 10 pips. I'm just throwing out numbers to show you the dramatic error that most people have when they're fooling around on that simulated account and trading on that account and keeping transaction statistics. Look, don't fucking tell me I don't know what I'm doing, because this is how I learned how to do it, because there was nobody there to tell me any different. I'm reading the books, I've done stuff like this before, computer simulation analysis. It was all a waste of fucking time, because it has nothing to do with reality. Just like sitting in that classroom and taking that course 10 times in a row is not going to make you a better driver. It's not going to give you the ability to protect that little kid that might be throwing that ball out and chasing it someday. Taking that class 1 time or 10 times isn't going to help you one damn bit if you don't look at that scenario, if that instructor doesn't point that out to you and say, when you see that little kid, your scrotum should just shrink up out of fear of the potential of what could happen. You better fucking slow down and make sure that kid's going to be okay. You can take that class 10 times and that won't do you any good until you get out on the street and are paying attention, and a half a block up you see that little kid standing between those 2 cars and you go, I've seen this before. I'm slowing this car down. I'm going to honk my horn, whatever it is that you're going to do. Or I'm going to get out of my car and take that little 3-year-old and put him back up on the street where his mommy should be. In driving a car, it's somebody's life. In currency trading, it's your financial life. Obviously, who gives a shit? It's only money. But you're not getting involved in the currency markets in order to lose money. But if you learn this stuff like I learned it, like I'm trying to caution you against it, you're going to lose money. I've lost all my money when I started trading a large account, because I didn't understand what my computer simulation work and all of my simulated trading environment stuff represented. I traded a simulated account for 6 years. I was involved with trading that simulated account for 6 years. I was actually trading, I opened my first live account. I got introduced to currency trading in 2007, 2012, opened a small mini account, live account, after all this simulated trading with the $50,000 that they give you. Well, isn't that stupid? Let's trade for 4 years and doing all this academic research based on a $50,000 account, and then I open a $2,000 mini account. That made a lot of fucking sense. Well, that $2,000 went through my account like shit through a goose. So I went back and did some research. I thought, well, let's try this again. I lost another couple of $1,000. They shut it down from 2000 and, well, I did that 2012, 2013, and I said, this isn't working out. I must need more research. I must need to read more fucking books. So I did that until 2017 or 18 or whenever it is, that I went out and said, well, I've been trading in a simulated account, and all my computer simulations is being based against a $40,000 account, because I had all this math analysis and stuff done with the $40,000. So I opened a $40,000 account. When that little kid jumped out in front of me, I didn't know what to do. I ran him down. If you fall prey to trading in a simulated account, you're doomed to fail. And that's all I can tell you. Now, all the previous videos I've done, I've simply said, use the simulated account for the mechanics and the plumbing, and then get into the live account and map the skills into learning how to trade in the live account on a $1,000 basis. Now you can listen to that and you can do it or not. But every time when I'm trading, and if I'm using more than mini lots, and I run into a flight of fancy where I do something stupid, I go back to a $1,000 account and I trade one mini. So there's no potential there for staging in, staging out, doing any kind of fancy trading gymnastics. It's one fucking mini lot. And I go back until I get my head screwed on straight. And then I gradually work my way back up. I continuously discover new problems that I have that cause me to lose money because of the way that I started to learn how to trade. Bad habits are almost impossible to break in currency trading because they have nothing to do with the mechanics of trading. They all have to do with the interaction of your psychology in how you implement the mechanics that you think you know how to do. Be very, very careful. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.